Brilliance Audio presents Abandoned, America's Lost Youth and the Crisis of Disconnection by Ann Kim. Performed by Janet Song. Emergence and Divergence. When exactly do you become an adult? If you were a young man of a certain class in ancient Rome, your passage into adulthood was as clear as the clothes you wore. Sometime during your 15th or 16th year, in a ceremony held by your family, you would take off the purple-hemmed tunic worn by all high-born Roman boys and exchange it for the pure white toga, the toga virilis, emblematic of the citizens of Rome. The transition was more than symbolic. When a young man was bestowed a toga, he was also bestowed with all the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. He was officially enrolled on the Roman census and had the right to vote, a duty the ancient Romans took seriously. He also became eligible to hold public office and serve in the military. He could go into debt and transact business in his family's name. In America today, the demarcation into adulthood is much more ambiguous. Legally, for instance, the lines of adult responsibility are wildly inconsistent across the 50 states. While teenagers typically can't get a driver's license until age 16, half of the states have no minimum age at which children can marry. And while young people need to be 18 to vote and 21 to, legally, drink, some states allow children as young as 10 to be transferred out of juvenile court and tried as adults if they commit a crime. These varying legal thresholds are in part the result of historical accident, politics, and practical considerations, as well as shifting attitudes about the privileges and responsibilities adulthood should carry. In the late 1960s, for instance, young people opposed to the Vietnam War rallied behind the motto, "Old enough to fight, old enough to vote," to lower the voting age from 21 to 18. The result was the 26th Amendment. However, the question of how old is old enough has no hard and fast answer. Americans see adulthood as a process rather than a terminal event, with a set of common milestones along the way: finishing school, working full-time, earning enough to support a family, moving away from home, and being financially independent. According to the 2012 General Social Survey, a majority of Americans see these particular achievements as extremely important or somewhat important to becoming an adult, with smaller numbers saying marriage and having a child are important threshold events. What's clear, however, is that becoming an adult is taking longer than it used to, and with important benefits for the young adults who can take the most advantage of this extended runway. The benefits of adultolescence. 50 years ago, young adulthood meant finding a job, setting up a household, and starting a family. Back then, those events were the starting points of people's adult lives. Today, those milestones are the culmination of a long period of preparation aimed at laying the financial, educational, and emotional foundations for adult success. Young people are increasingly taking zigzag paths toward their adult selves. They're switching jobs, switching majors, taking gap years, moving back home, dating the wrong people, experimenting, and occasionally falling flat. In the past, this would have been called failure to launch. Today, it's called emerging adulthood. In an influential 2004 book that first described the phenomenon and coined this term, psychologist Jeffrey Jensen Arnett argues that today's young people are experiencing a new and historically unprecedented period of the life course, made possible by more years in school and, consequently, more years before marriage and family. Whereas in 1970, the typical young woman was married at 21 and a mother the same year, young women in 2017 were a median of 27 years old when they married and 26 at the birth of their first child. These extra years, Arnett argues, give today's young people unprecedented freedom to explore different paths for themselves before they settle down.